So today's going to be a scary one because, it's October, about to be Halloween. Westward is here. So I thought I would just chef some things right up. The thing about that specific emblem is that it always reminds me of Westworld, the show about, well, robots, honestly. You enter their world and you're able to do or pay for whatever kind of play it is that you are interested in. I think the point of that was not so much to rehash Westworld, but more so to confront the idea of death. Um, a lot of people are really scared of death, and although I understand why it could be a scary concept or idea, there's also plenty of us who are not scared of death. Not because it's not a final ending, it is. This specific vessel that you're currently traveling in will come to an end someday. But the point of this reading is going to be to alleviate some of the fear that I'm feeling. I think that's why people attack spiritual individuals, because they do not understand the connection that we have with death or the other side of the veil. I'm going to try to demystify that so that the hatred can stop. I don't know where it has originated, but think about the first time that you ever encountered death as a child. Maybe it was your grandparent. Maybe it was your own child. Maybe it was someone else's family member that your family attended the funeral of. All of those people are stars. They're all going to be a bright spot in your memory. And even if you can't remember the very first one, just remember the most recent one as far back in your memory as you can. That's where it began. That's the root, the key. Okay. Recalling that moment of shock, sadness, and it's honestly awe. It's amazing when someone dies because it isn't necessarily something that we've conceptualized. We've not had time to think about the other side. We don't meditate on that a lot. We meditate here and we remain present, which is very important, but also this is the exploration of why you would remember what death causes is pain. It's because that's what you've been taught. You've watched people cry at a funeral rather than laugh and celebrate. And then maybe death wouldn't be so scary. If you've never seen the TV series Treme, it's like TRE, like Trey, and then May. But it's with an apostrophe over the E, so just ME. Treme. You should watch. In certain parts of the world, the grief that you feel from death is something that's built upon. It's something that is represented as a rebirth, right? You enter one side of the world, you pass through it, and then you die. It doesn't matter where you pass through it, at the equator or otherwise, just even down under, there's multiple ways of passing through this water, right? The big blue planet. Um, your memory is going to prepare you with reaction so that you can evolve properly. When there have been instances of like mass genocide or massacre, genetically speaking, including things like the plague, people have evolved way faster because our species as a whole not only mentally understood the necessity for us to quicken. It's a quickening, it's a growth, it's a faster pace of movement. Okay, it's just it's a, some pep in your step that you may not have had otherwise. And in certain cases, unfortunately, it is because of death. So instead of needing 9 months in utero, you need 6. Instead of needing to understand your vessel is a specific physical carrier for you throughout this lifetime, you simply, it's almost like shape shifting or body jumping or skin walking. You give thanks for this vessel and understand that it is one of maybe 3. This one has had a caterpillar, a cocoon, and now this one. 3 different bodies at least. You have no clue what happens inside that cocoon unless you've been there before. It's like being the new maker's mark. Instead of canned beans, it's bottled water. Okay. It's a container of a different type, but it is a vessel, just like a water molecule is a droplet, which can become airborne or aerosolized, but only under very high pressures. Okay. Yeah, here's Chatterbox in the reverse. This actually, the understanding of where your first inkling of death came from is almost so primal. It's the breakthrough that it's like a moth to a flame. You see that? This mother is going to be drawn towards this flame. However, you can't fly towards that or you will die. Here's the growth and the upright and the safe travels, right? So you got to be safe about the way that you send thought or prayer. And it is have to do with the way that the information is shared. So the way it would be taken advantage of is if there was crossfire. This is the Fibonacci sequence, more or less. So you have to be grateful that there was safe travel. You were not caught in the crossfire. X marks the spot. Okay. But there's also this new moon energy that's being preyed upon. And you have to know that. You have to understand that you're naturally going to evolve towards this way because this is what we celebrate. This is what you were pre-programmed to believe. That death is something to cry over, to fear, not to look forward to. There's nothing on the other side. There's dirt. That's it. Hopefully, you put enough prayer together that you make safe travel one way or the other, right? Depending on what you believe. It's like birds and the bees, also the butterflies. They have a very specific time frame for a life cycle. And that's what we have here on this planet. It doesn't have to be so futile. If you're very fierce, okay, I don't know why that came through. If your very first memory was that of fear of life or death, then you probably aren't going to want to, mess around too much with, you're not going to feel warm feelings towards that end of life. I can't see you, I can't hear you, I can't talk to you, I can't call you when I want to call you. There's an inconvenience that we then feel sorry for not having honored while it was here. It's Thunderbird tracks. I feel slightly nauseated right now. Yeah, that was intense. There's something about yeah, it's the level of fear. People are more fear of death than they are of anything else. Wow, I'm hearing people who are racist would actually go ahead and venture into accepting black gene therapy as a solution as long as they could get past death. And I'm instantly no longer nauseous. That is crazy. People are that scared of death that there's literally something kind of powerful about it. That's where the power comes from. Woo! That just literally. It's like people just want to repel or expel death. Literally makes them. They're scared of being sick. They're scared of pain. That's what it is. Both of the title cards just dropped out. I kid you not. That's the only two that dropped out. They're scared. People are scared of the pain and the sickness involved with not knowing all these. This is the only card out of all of these cards that has this many different options on it. Okay. Look, literally. This is yeah, look. They don't like it. They literally don't feel any kind of connection to death. They're scared that the connection to life will then therefore be over, beginning to end. That's the headstone. I'm seeing the birthday and the death date of something, but also people don't understand that there's okay. What do I need to say? Yeah, no, the people are not laughing about it, but they also don't get that there's power in it. It's they're not smiling. There's no laughing, there's no smiling. This is not something that they feel warm about. Over here, there's it's back and forth. You understand? This is reincarnation, kind of. Yeah, that's the letter that's trying to be sent right now. It's about time. People need to understand what these keys are for so that they can stop hating each other. If you hate each other, you're taking away the opportunity to get to know each other and realize that each other might have the keys that you need. You can't force them, you can't take them. It's alchemical. Alchemical. You got to get to that golden state on your own. You can take advice, and you should never let anyone else's opinion deter your own, because what you eat doesn't make me poo, okay? I might be really allergic to some type of something that you're not, and vice versa. Okay, that could be the eventual gene therapy that could have been shared. But because it was forced, now we're not being so flexible with one each other's bunnies. Okay, there's a rabbit, it's a squirrel moment, it's distracting, it doesn't have to be. This was on top, move it. Okay? It's there needs to be a shift in the way that people see death, because they act really foolishly when that's the fear. That means you're never going to take a risk that you never have, honestly. It doesn't mean go out and do something absolutely stupid. It means learn what life feels like versus what's hunger and thirst and lust and I don't know, all these hierarchical needs. Feel those. Figure out what that feels like to go to bed with like a empty stomach, with an empty nest, all by yourself. Go somewhere all by yourself, to a different country where you can't even understand the language, so that you're completely immersed, not only in someone else's life, but also in your own head. See what kind of adventures you take. See how gullible you are at that point versus this point. No judgment. Just saying. Experience it. Let's talk about death again, because that's what we're reading for. You don't get judged in a way that you better have done this and you better have done that. No, don't wait for that. Who would want to? Yeah, you should be scared to die if that's what you think is coming afterwards. What if it's the creation of your own mind? Whatever you believe happens after death is what happens. What kind of afterlife have you created in your mental space, not in your physical space? Right. It wouldn't matter if you're inside or outside. People with huge mansions and billions and trillions and cotillions and blah, 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 amounts of dollars, giga billion, they could have like nothing planned for their afterlife. Understood? Spiritually speaking, it could be completely left out in the cold. Don't wait for that. Or else you'll just, it's like if you don't believe in anything, then if there was something waiting for you, then you didn't believe in it. And if you do believe in something, just take the risk. Then you believe in something and something is also waiting for you. Right. It's back to it's stardom. Remember how we were identifying all those stars in the beginning? The first place you ever saw death. That could end up being your chariot. It could be the thing that like arcs you over to the other side. I mean, it can keep going, but this is spiritual. It's what you believe is what you believe, and nobody can force you to believe anything. Could be a mixture. You could believe that you're gonna be a Jedi Knight and part of Star Wars, and also I am Groot. You know, there's moving on. Which is exactly what was at the bottom of this pile here. Was turn back time. We had both of the um, title cards here in the middle, and then yeah, I shouldn't put it down. Move it. That's what had come out here, and it was supposed to be the message. Okay. Yep. This is like this is so this is information, this is gossip. Things that have been said about afterlife, or maybe what you have to believe about the afterlife. You could just reconstruct the entire thing for yourself. There is a book that I suggest to everybody who will listen by David Eagleman called Sum, S-U-M. You do the math about it. I literally read that book in one day from cover to cover because I was so intrigued. I don't know if you call that interested or fascinated, but I was something. It opened my mind in a way that I was definitely prepared for at that point, but also had no clue what a prolific impact it would have. So, if you're feeling daring, yeah, here's justice. It is in the reverse, but that's going on top of the judgment in the reverse. So no one is judging what someone else's justice looks like. You can find God in numbers. You could find God in words. You could find God in specific locations. You could find God, and I don't care which one you're praying to. Just even if it's like an image of yourself, even if you're a narcissist. Yeah, here's the emperor. Okay. Just make this your emperor, whatever that looks like in your life. If you had I'm just like using this as an example because emperor is typically like father figure. If you had like a father figure that you didn't necessarily like know, even kind of a mystery to you, recreate that person the way that you wanted them to be created before you met them. I'm talking to myself partially, but also that's what this is. Life gives you opportunities to change things. There's the king of fire in the reverse. Yeah, so like you're not gonna be creating being left out in the cold. Do you see that? You automatically decommission those things and move on from them so that you can move towards this moment whenever it may be, wherever it may be. I'm just saying the sun, the stars, and the moon are all right here. It would be such a shame to be so terrified to meet your maker if your maker already made his mark on you or on this reality. Yeah, here's the six of air. This did come out in the reverse. It's moving on at the other end upside down. So we just talked about how you have to go like kind of around the world, be a little bit kind of golden rule about it. You get what you give, treat people the way you want to be treated, put up with some things but not with others. Like this, that's what I mean is like learn emotional intelligence. Very helpful. Yep. So this is Seven of Earth. It kind of flipped out in this pile. I don't want to take all these cards, but it's there. It's kind of just like looking back at what you've already done. The things that like you don't need to repeat certain lessons. Other ones you kind of want to repeat on purpose. If something really worked for you before, yes, do that again. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's ton of air. evaluate the pros and the cons. That's what I mean. If something didn't work, don't go back and do it again. If something did work, that's where we saw the Seven of Pentacles. Keep building on that. So it's learning that specific spices don't really go together. You know what I mean? It's learning. It's an experiential process. That's what cooking is. So for making Westward food and drink, this is the King of Air coming out. So we've seen all the kings now. They've all come out at different points. But here in specific is the King of Water and the King of Air. So that is emotional intelligence. I could not have said it more eloquently. It's the depth of water while having the gust of wind or the swiftness of air, like light speed. Like light speed, okay? It's the light of the moon. Yep, here's 8 of water. This is 8 and 8. So 8 of fire. This is communicating that some things need to be what they are. You can only control yourself. There's nobody else that you can control. So yeah, that's kind of self-explanatory, but we'll go over it once again with these cards just to make sure. Right. We can't presume to know what death really is, and it still seems to remain a mystery to the majority of people. Right. You can think about it. We all have ideas or different perspectives, which is what I was saying about that book. Right. We all have our own truth. We all have our own belief, and that's okay. There's a water. All you really need to do is live and let live. That's it. Right. You can choose if you want the path to be stormy or if you want it to just be smooth sailing. You can let it be like an Orinoco flow without having to row your boat. You know. Yeah. You can just be who you are. I'm seeing a rose bush or some type of tree that flowers. A whole bunch of flowers. Poinsettias are coming to mind as well as chrysanthemums. Anyway, yeah. I hope that was at least kind of helpful. I guess the last question I'll ask before shutting this down, we'll use the map caster's death. Let me tell me what this is. So the secret of death, because that's what the last 2 cards that came out were with the the here's flying. I don't really know. It just came out of the deck when I picked up the yeah, so this is a juxtaposition, which I was saying about that emotional intelligence. It's knowing how to fly mentally while staying firmly rooted. So this may be like almost under the ocean. Something is firmly rooted there. And those ideas are the ones that bubble to the surface, like the surface of a champagne glass, for example, or some type of bubbly wine. Okay. If this is the bubble and this is the person drinking the rosé, okay? Let's ask the question of death. Is death actually simply the entrance or reincarnated opportunity for the human spirit, soul, essence, divinity, and ego to travel, yes, there's the rescue. The plans that any kind of otherworldly being might have for this planet is for good, not evil. Don't forget that. Any being that would put you here on purpose, of course, they would continue to watch the progression until you're done. And then they come rescue your soul. Even if this is only my personal opinion or the way that it's being expressed, or that I can express it, that I'm able to express it, that I'm willing to express it, this isn't necessarily everybody's truth, and I'm okay with that. This is what I believe, and it's the way that life has always shown up for me. Each individual has to explore their own path, but this is definitely the way you come in is the way you come out. And I've never chased anybody else's source of water except from my own. So, very thankful for that, but it doesn't mean that it was easy. It does not mean that it was easy. Yeah, here's Gentle Gardener. Be gentle with yourself and your idea of where your collective experience will move. Because what if it was horrible this life, so next life it'll be better? Maybe you'll see someone next lifetime. What if there are parallel universes and we're just on like the fringe outskirts? Yeah. This is basic um house cleaning. This is understanding you don't need to get rid of death in order for it to be a presence that you're aware of, that you have a healthy respect for. Kind of like you wouldn't just throw yourself off a boat in the middle of a storm in the middle of the sea. Unless you really knew how to swim or you're some type of siren. That reflection, you're not alone in any of your poems. It's good to have a healthy fear of the sea, to be sort of scared that it could take your life. It could. Just like that. You don't even have to be out at sea. People from New Orleans know that. But they also know the signs that tell them to get out before the storm touches land. So even if they don't even have a car, they hitchhike, they catch a ride, they carpool, they do whatever they have to do to get out. It's actually no joke. It's like this is like when the term when hell freezes over, and pigs fly. It's kind of like that. And then if we look at these two um, title cards, they came out together. So maybe we are like, manifest destiny, but that also means there's a final destination. So you like dip and dodge as long as you're alive. Like you have to sift through all of these skill sets as a human and figure out which one of them you're good at, which one you're bad at. You take the one your favorites, and that's all you can pack. It's all you can send in the envelope to the other side. Okay? These words that you write, imagine they were tattooed all over your body. I've seen that example before. This is the only message you can send your future self. It's how many words you can write on your body. So if that's your genetic DNA, if any of it is pre-recorded and then predestined to happen, then this is honestly the outcome. You have something beautiful waiting for you on the other side. Who would just decide that they're gonna write out a character in a story that's just gonna die and never be a character in anything ever again? It's like every death. Imagine your life is a movie, okay? And every time you die, you get to take one piece of information with you to the next lifetime. And you forget it the moment that you're born. But at a certain point in time, when you're looking for yourself, that's when the alarm clock goes off and you're woken up when it's all over. It's like a bad anesthesia trip where you like wake up and it feels like you just blinked your eye. When you die, maybe that's going to be how you feel about your life. It's one dream. I don't know. Made in the image of is a very, very specific and particular terminology, which would kind of imply that we might be more like the same. So maybe if an higher intelligence did kind of lob you a ball, you might actually be able to pick up on it and lob it right back. It doesn't mean in a bad way, but it's just returning the serve. It's playing a game or it's competing. You can look at it either way. I prefer to look at it as playing a game. Yeah. That's kind of the point of trying to keep it fun, trying to keep it light, not really wanting to like be bogged down by the superfluous expectation. Whatever that's supposed to mean, I don't know. It was nice flowery verbiage though. I'm sticking with my story, okay? Either way it goes, these are the birdies. This is the badminton. Okay. So we're not training for the Olympics here. Just make it something you enjoy. Like I said, just have fun. Don't be so serious. As many times as possible throughout the week, think dog walking, dancing, or a game of tennis. So I'm thinking Venus energy is right here. Serena. So remember I was saying like that depth of like if you can survive if you're a siren. I feel like that's like Serena calling out to Venus in the sky. So think of the depth of a siren in the ocean. And then Venus is obviously the planet. And they can hear each other because they're twins. It's like Artemis and Ares. They're also twins. And they're hunters. This is going to be energies moving forward, please. Mm. Oh, blessings. Number 6. Well, I'll be